Hi, everyone. It is me, Sailor Mars. Sailor Red World Ray here. And today we're going to talk about, you know, the kin. We're going to talk about the kinship. About why I would always get, irked or angry at, Sailor Moon Serena or also Sailor Earth Ernest. When I first met Sailor Moon, and I don't really care which offshoot we're coming from, Viz, Deke, whatever. It never really worked out. When I first met Serena, Sailor Moon, I met them when they came to my worship house. And at the time, they were looking for missing folks who had gone missing, either when they were driving home in their Waynes or lorries, or when they were taking a lorry home. And Serena showed up along with Amy at the time. Now, keep in mind, my first meeting of Serena was by hitting her in the head by mistake when I thought that there was evil near the worship house, and by mistake I thought it was her. At the time, Jedi, who was working for Queen Beryl, had took it upon himself, or maybe one of Queen Beryl's goals, we don't know, because Queen Beryl doesn't really show up in this one. And Jedi was making folks go away. So what pissed me off was first Serena thought maybe I knew something about what was going on. So right there, we didn't start off. And after Tuxedo Max helped us, and after I got my stick, my shape-shifting stick, whatever you want to call it, and learned that I was Sailor Mars, Sailor Red World, and that Amy was Sailor Mercury, Sailor Quicksilver, and Serena was Sailor Moon. And it first started out when I said, hey, I want to thank Tuxedo Max for helping us. And at the end of the day, it goes, well, don't say anything because he helped me out. And I was like, well, how do you know he cares about you or not? And she said, you want him all to yourself. And I did not want him to myself. I did want to thank him for that. And that's how it started out, that we didn't get on very well. And you see, over the times, over all of those years that I've known her, I didn't think she was a good enough leader because she spent most time being a klutz, a ditz and a sob baby. Like that time when we were in Dreamland, and they're one of Jadeite's goals, Dreamland, and she kept not taking anything earnest, had to ride the steel horse, had to ride the fun go around, and then said, oh, we need to get in and get the fleets. So I didn't like her. And there were many times that she would either behave like a ditz or a klutz, and I didn't like that. It irked the shit out of me. Let's never forget about that one time when I came over to her house and she didn't tell me her mother didn't know how to sew, so this made me look bad. Well, later on, when Lita came on the team as Sailor Jupiter, Sailor King World, and Mina came on as Sailor Venus, Sailor Hell World, well, I still didn't quite like her because she always was a ditz and a klutz. But over time, I learned to onlook her. Like when we were stuck in that world, when we were fighting Zoisite and Malachite, and I said I had to say didn't say you were true leader, but I was wrong. So we became good friends after that. But it didn't mean throughout all the 5 followings that she didn't irk me, because there were times where she would irk me. All right? And I know some folks out there are going to say, you only bullied her through almost all the 5 followings because you didn't think she was a good leader. And yes, that was true. I was guilty of bullying her throughout most of the first following of that. And she would irk me sometimes throughout the 2-diff following, the 3-diff following, the 4-diff following, and the 5th-diff following, and sometimes even in the free films. I know that PGSM didn't really have me getting irked at her as much as I would get irked at her in the Drawing film, which Toei made, which Deke would work with, which Chloe would work with, which Viz would then work with years later. So, it pissed me off all those times. I mean, there would be times where we would be at, Cherry Hill Temple or Red Hill Worship House, the Deke name for that worship house. And there'd be times where she'd either be sleeping or eating or something, or taking my funny books without asking, or just start some shit with me. And then, if you think that I only got irked at Sailor Moon Serena, you'd be wrong, because sometimes I would get irked at Sailor Venus, Sailor Hellroll, Mina, but not as much. Except there was that one time when Mina came over to my house to, to play caregiver and wrecked it up so badly. And later on, when Sailor Earth, when Ernest P. Worrell, or Ernest Sailor Earth came along, I got irked at him too. Because he just behaves. Sometimes it's like, it's already bad enough you're dealing with Serena sometimes, dealing with Mina sometimes. Now you got to deal with Ernest now and his things. But at the end of the day, I only got irked at them because apparently they would sometimes say or do something I thought was dumb. And someone says, so, why did you bully Serena through most of all the first following of Sailor Moon, but then you still get irked with her in the 2-diff following, the 3-diff following, the 4-diff following, and the 5th following, as well as the free films? Because I sometimes get irked at her when she behaves like a ditz and a klutz. Hold on, there's a leaf underneath here I gotta take care of. Shit. And sometimes it wasn't only Serena that I would get irked with, or Mina, or Ernest. Sometimes I would get irked at Chad too. Sometimes I'd get pissed off at Chad for things too. So, yeah. They always made me have this anger thing, or getting smoothly irked or angered with someone, And I know someone's going to say, oh, well, in the books, in the drawing books, and in PGSM, the live Farseer show in the books, you didn't get irked or angered at folks as much as you did in the Toei drawing show, the Deke drawing show. Well, the Toei drawing show that Deke got the rights to work with, that Chloe got the rights to work with, and then Viz got the rights to work with years later. Yes, that's true. The way I behave in PGSM and in the drawing books is not the same way I behave in a drawing show, in a drawing film. You are true about that. And some folks think, so, getting back to that one time when, when a lot of folks say I can tell that you're a good friend, was that one time when we first met Lita, which we knew becomes Sailor Jupiter, Sailor King World. And she goes, oh, I could tell you two are good friends. Well, all we do is fight, or rile would be the right word for it. And, yeah. And the grounds to why I fought her, because I thought, hey, because in the beginning I didn't think she was a good enough leader. All I thought she was a klutz and a ditz and a sob baby, and didn't want to take anything earnest. So that's why I did what I did. And that's where most of the fights came from in the first following. And the 2-diff following, and the 3-diff following, the 4-diff following, even the 5th following, the fights were, or the rarls, or whatever rise, whatever you want to call them, were over those same things. Well, it looks like it is raining a little. I can kind of feel it. So if you like this film, then follow me over here at Sailor Moon for Life. Don't forget to share, thumb up, and playlist this film. Sailor Mars Ray, Sailor Red World, will see you later. Goodbye.